I met the folks at Etherisc back at the Hackathon Gold hackathon a couple of years ago, and fascinated by the project because it was very related to open markets and insurance, which was consistent with something I was working on with auger prediction markets. And the feeling that when you're writing insurance, the concept that you're basically betting on whether or not a certain event might occur, there's a risk, which is premium, and a payout, which is an insurance claim. And I thought that the application of that idea on the blockchain would be amazing. And to think about how that could be decentralized really fit my ethos for what an open financial system, a global open financial system, might look like. So one of the things that I consider when spending time on a project or advising a team is the team itself and how much energy and creativity they have, passion for the idea. Of course, I think about the idea and where it sits in the framework of potential, certainly related to crypto. And then the third thing I think about is how the team and the opportunity can be multiplied to ultimately be something that becomes successful. And I think the ingredients here for Etherisc are really quite right. One of the important things to me about Etherisc and the notion of decentralized insurance is that a really good functioning society needs to protect its participants from catastrophes. And catastrophes are very, very expensive to insure. And therefore, many people who can't afford them remain exposed to terrible things that could happen. But if we can use the efficiencies of the blockchain to remove some of the costs, to make some of the risks more specific, we would do a much better job at having a society that's protected from catastrophes in a way that we could share risks, in a way that doesn't make one particular stakeholder pay more than they should be for their share of protection. So when I think about where Etherisc might go, not just at the beginning for a good blockchain use case like flight delay, where it's pretty cool to see a premium be collected in a cryptocurrency, an automatic validation of whether or not there's a payout coming from was the flight late or was the flight on time, but also thinking about how these decentralized protocols for insurance can be sliced into a number of different use cases and business cases for all kinds of things. And because of the smart contracts and the way they can be really narrowly specified, you can cover all kinds of business cases. So I think insurance is an incredibly large market. I think decentralization definitely has benefits to the insurance market. And I think the token and the way the token economics are designed would be very useful to help corral network effects and help grow a decentralized insurance protocol. So I think the project has a lot of potential. I think it has a really good chance of being successful, and that's why I wanted to be involved. The ICO kind of flow and number of projects has obviously changed in the past 6 to 8 months. Before, the Wild West environment where almost anything would be possible has changed, particularly because of some pressures in the United States. So when you think about a product set like insurance, which really has strong compliance requirements and regulatory requirements in every country, it really makes sense to take a very deliberate approach to funding and the use of those funds. So even though it seems somewhat burdensome to raise funds in an ultra-compliant way, even if we don't know whether or not all of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, I think for the long-term benefit of the project, it's probably good. And I think that there is a trend of more compliance, more regulations being applied to these ICOs so that they will either be successful and compliant or they will be rogue and the real bad actors will get shut down.